over $8 million in rare world coins were sold at the Chicago Central States World Coins auction by Heritage during April of 2019. These are just a few of the more interesting coins that were on offer. The reign of Charles I might be mired in infamy today, culminating in his very public execution in 1649, bringing a quite definitive close to the English Civil War. His contribution to British numismatics, however, should not be overlooked, making a shift away from the crude and fairly poorly struck coins of his early reign to the finely detailed milled coins we see at the end of his rule. And no finer example of that can probably be illustrated than the famous Triple Unite gold coins, as seen here. Though it is true that Charles viewed these coins almost as propaganda pieces, with the obverse depicting his portrait in full armor holding both a sword and an olive branch. The implied message of both war and peace being within his grasp is really quite palpable. Then, the reverse bears the abbreviated excerpt from his famous Wellington Declaration that he would uphold the Protestant religion, the laws of England, and the liberty of Parliament. A masterpiece in British numismatics that was graded by NGC as MS61 and saw a closing price of $180,000. An interesting item offered at the auction, though not a coin per se, is the Nobel Prize Medal for Physics awarded to Ager Niels Bohr for 1975. So yes, with enough money you could buy a Nobel Prize. Sort of. Now, this is by no means the first time that a Nobel medal was sold, but it's not something that happens every day either. The prize was awarded to Bohr for, and I'm going to have to quote this directly, for the discovery of the connection between collective motions and particle motions in atomic nuclei and the development of the theory of structure for the atomic nucleus based on this connection. Accompanied by the original presentation box and documentation, the medal managed to sell for $108,000. The massive size and lavish design of this 1553 gold sovereign of 30 shillings for Mary I, with its detailed portrait of the enthroned queen on the reverse and the lavish Tudor rose enveloping the royal shield on the obverse, almost denotes a hopeful tone that the excesses of her father Henry VIII had come to a close and that a new, brighter dawn was about to rise. Unfortunately for the peoples of England, the opposite was very much the truth, as Bloody Mary effectively brought the Inquisition to England, which saw hundreds of her fellow Christians being tortured and burnt at the stake. Only with the accession of her half-sister Elizabeth I would the English Renaissance truly dawn. Graded by NGC as AU58, the coin raised a very respectable $60,000 at auction. And while on the topic of Elizabeth I, here we see a contemporary medal struck to celebrate the defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588. In 1588, Philip II of Spain sent a massive fleet of around 130 warships to invade England and depose Elizabeth. The medal depicts a scene where the Spanish suffered a massive defeat. Almost a third of the Armada was sunk or captured by the British. This silver medal is ungraded but measures 52.3 millimeters or almost 20.6 inches and managed to sell for $10,200. The 1917 sovereign from the reign of George V is a curious case indeed, as the original mintage of well over 1 million coins belies the coin's true rarity. You see, nearly the entire mintage of 1 million coins was retained by the Bank of England, and following the conclusion of the First World War, was shipped in bulk to the United States as payment for accrued war debts. Those coins were then housed in Fort Knox and following the Gold Reserve Act of 1934 were all melted down and recast as bullion, leaving a graded population of only 34 coins that are known today, of which the current example is the finest at a grade of MS65 from NGC. This saw the coin sell for $50,400. The Meiji currency reform was one of the most ambitious and impactful events in all of Japanese numismatics, having effects which one could very well argue are still felt to this very day. This new, larger sized 20 yen coin is one of the first products of that transformative event, struck in the third year of the Meiji Restoration, or 1870. It is the first year of issue for this new denomination and a popular coin with collectors to boot. Graded as MS61 by NGC, it managed to raise $43,000. And while in Japan, on offer was a stunning gold Oban piece from the Manin period under the rule of Emperor Komei. The piece was very well struck and retains a near perfect ink signature, as well as a certificate of authenticity from the Japanese Numismatic Dealers Association attesting that the signature is indeed original. $38,400 secured a new home for this impressive piece. Next in line are a couple of gold Cobb 8 Escudo coins from the reign of Phillip V. Either would make a welcome addition to any collection of Spanish colonial gold. First is a 1713 coin from the Mexico City Mint. These coins were fairly crude at the best of times, but this example was seemingly struck on a slightly oversized flan that managed to capture at least most of the details. Graded as Gem MS66 by NGC, the coin duly sold for $22,800. And then some Peruvian gold, a 1710 8 Escudo coin from the Lima City Mint. The eye-catching Cobb was recovered from the shipwreck of the renowned 1715 Plate Fleet, an astounding shipwreck where 11 of the 12 ships, all laden with gold and treasure on their way back to Spain from the New World, were sunk in a devastating hurricane. Graded by NGC as MS62, this historic coin sold for $19,200. Though not widely publicized or really known today, there was a healthy debate around the issue of decimalization in Great Britain around the 1840s. Ultimately, this would come to naught, as it would be another 130 years before Britain would abandon the imperial monetary system. But one of the interesting things to come from this debate was a set of proposed decimal pattern coins from the firm of Miriam and Gosby, with this being a 5-cent coin from that most likely intended to replace the sixpence. It very obviously copies the obverse portrait by William Wyan, although fails to execute it to quite the same degree of excellence. PCGS authenticates the piece as proof 64 brown, and it sold for $1,800. Something that did arise from the decimalization debate, however, was a new denomination of coin. The British florin, or 2 shilling piece, was an attempt to somewhat simplify the coinage system, as 10 florins would constitute £1. The Royal Cypher florin was an early pattern for the new denomination, although the Gothic florin design would be adopted in the following year. Both the delicate portrait of Queen Victoria and the Gothic influences on the reverse Royal Cypher design would have made a masterful addition to the circulating set of that era. PCGS graded this coin as proof 64, and when the auctioneer's gavel fell, it stood at $10,200. A small collection of rare South African coins were also presented for auction. Perhaps the most intriguing of these was this 1874 pattern coin struck in bronze for what would then later become the single year of issue of the so-called Burgers Pound. This very rare pattern coin from the fledgling South African Republic, or the ZAR, what the British more so refer to as the Transvaal Republic, is something that is seldom seen if at all. A grade of AU55 brown from NGC had this coin closing for $6,600. Would you like to see more world coins and possibly even ancient coins featured on this channel? Let me know what you'd like to see in the comment section below. Subscribe to WNN and activate notifications with the bell icon never to miss any future videos. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, keep collecting, and have a great day.